Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Banking and Consumer Affairs. We know that you'd rather be here than be at home with a loved one on Valentine's Day, and we're glad you made that choice. And at this time, I want to get Madam Clerk to please call the roll.
Representatives Barrett. Bricken.
Here.
Bricken is present. Camper. Here. Camper is present. Faison. Faison is present. Garrett. Lynn. Lynn is present. Sparks.
Here.
Sparks is present. Vaughn.
Vaughn is present.
Vaughn is present. Chairman Powers.
Here.
Chairman Powers, you have a quorum.
Okay. Thank you. And before we get started, does anyone have any personal orders here on the committee? And if not, let's go ahead and get rolling. Bill number 1, House Bill 1212. And I think the Honorable Chairman Carr is going to be presenting the bill.
Thank you, Mr.
Chairman Carr, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This speaker brought this bill to me because he helped us out up there around Sevier County around the hospitality. This bill has to do with teenagers under 18 being able to wait on tables, and it's being brought for the East Tennesseans, or all Tennesseans, of what that is. It's a statute that a person must be 18 years old to be employed by a server, that if alcohol is being served in the restaurant. But this bill would allow 16 and 17-year-olds to serve as restaurant servers. But I want to also point out that even though they're 16 years of age, between 16 and 17, and they're in establishments that have gross receipts for the sale of intoxicating beverages over 25%, they would not be allowed to take any order, or to be able to serve intoxicating beverages. So look at it like this. I'm a waitress, and I'm over the age of 18. I come and take your drinks, and I take your order, and then when it comes out of the kitchen, you allow these 16 and 17-year-olds to carry it to the table and present it to them. And that relieves pressure on what few restaurant workers we have now that we can be able to go to the tables that are old enough to take the order and take the maybe alcohol content drink and everything like that. So that just frees them up to go and wait on other tables while these 16 or 17-year-olds are doing other functions that the waiters would have to do if they didn't have this help. And with that, I stand ready for any questions.
All right. Thank you, Chairman Carr. And I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but if you're my waitress, you're not going to get a very big tip.
Well, thank you. I'd rather be your waiter, okay?
Yeah, or that either. Okay. Representative Lynn, you heard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. These days you never know. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, no.
We have a lot of sort of the honky-tonks downtown. Most wholesome places sometimes. So is it establishments like that, or what is the criteria for this?
The criteria, this would help any if your receipts from the sale of alcoholic beverages exceed 25% of the gross revenue. So, that would be quite a lot of restaurants, of course, but it would be up to them if they wanted to hire them or not. But I mean, if they're not going to be, if it's just a quote, maybe a honky-tonk, as you say, or maybe more of a bar establishment, if there's not that much food going on, there wouldn't be that much need for them. We're trying to work this out and aim this at the restaurants that have a lot of need for servers, is what it is. It's for servers.
So the food receipts have to be 25% of gross revenue?
It says right here,
or
if a minor is at least 16 years of age, they may be employed as servers in establishments where the gross receipts from the sale of intoxicating beverages exceeds 25% of the gross revenue.
Alcohol is 25% or more.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the alcohol is 25% or more.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Representative Lynn.
so does that mean the alcohol could be 100% of the gross revenue? Because that would be more than 25% of the gross revenue.
Well, it's got to be, when you talk about a restaurant, they divide those in two different things as far as the alcohol and the food, and then alcohol has to be 25% of the gross revenue. So it does not say anything about all the alcohol being all the revenue, so they couldn't serve just, I don't think it could serve, but they'd be underage. They couldn't be in an establishment where it's all alcohol because they're not even 18 years old or 21. You got to be 21 to go in those establishments. And and this is what we're running into, especially in the hospitality in East Tennessee. right now, the way that the J1 workers come in, this is a whole different bill, but when the J1 workers come in, they have not for the last 2 years been able to be qualified because of going to the SAFE program that they can even just carry an alcoholic beverage and put it on the table. ABC will not give them permit to even do that, so they can't even do that now. So what we're looking at now is the waiters or waitresses have to be at least 21 before they can do it.
Yeah.
Now, if we get that straightened out on the other side for the J1 workers and the HB24 workers, we know when they're coming in and when they're leaving. We get that worked out. Then at the age of 18 and no younger, then they can at least take and carry it to the tables. That's not take the order. That's carry it to the tables.
Representative Lynn.
I was thinking it'd be better if they took the order and didn't carry it to the table. I don't know. But thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well,
thank you for indulging me.
Chairman Carr.
Thank you. As of right now, unless you're 21, you can't do anything because ABC will not grant the permit even for 18s right now, and that's what we've been working on. So these 16 and 17s will just be there for a help to help carry it to the tables there because you have your waiter and waitresses are 21. They're trying to get to all the other tables that need to take a drink order because right now 18-year-olds cannot get the permit to even carry it to the table.
Right. But you could be 16 through 20 then with this bill, 16 through 20. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it.
Okay, any other questions? Oh, okay. Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is only dealing with restaurants that serve alcohol, not grocery stores that sell alcohol.
This is for the hospitality industry, not retail.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions before we vote? Okay, without objection, we're going to be voting, and all in favor say aye. All opposed, the same, and there are no noes. The bill passes, and you are going to full commerce. Chairman Carr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee.
Okay, and we're going to go out of order just a little bit. If Dr. Kumar is in the building, the doctor is not in. He's in another, okay. So we'll catch up with him in a little while. We were going to let him get ahead. He had to present another bill. Chairman Howell, you're up. House bill on your item number 2, and please give us your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 136 is a cleanup bill to the subscription bill that you may recall that I passed last year. That bill, thank you. That bill said that if a consumer can subscribe to a service such as a satellite service online, they must also be allowed to unsubscribe online, which, by the way, seems to be working well. I see that one of the services that I had dealt with is now allowing you to unsubscribe online. Some services, however, inadvertently failed to be excluded. Some are already excluded, such as insurance products, which are regulated by the state's insurance code. But there are other insurance products, such as service warranty contracts, people who have insurance on their cell phones. Those type of insurance products inadvertently were not excluded, and they should have been because they're already covered under TCA 562126. So this cleanup bill simply puts them in the exclusion category.
Okay, thank you for that. And do we have questions on the bill? Anywhere? Okay, without objection, then we're going to be voting on House Bill 136. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. And you are going to full commerce. And thank you
very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for coming. Okay. Dr. Kumar, still not here. Okay. Okay, and we're going to roll Dr. Kumar, item number 3. We're going to roll it to the Hill. And the next bill up will be item number 4. And Chairman Bricken, you're going to be presenting this one. And Please, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is House Bill 316. I'll make a motion for approval.
Oh,
Second.
got a motion and a second. So you're
Thank you,
in
Mr.
proper
Chairman.
order.
I'm certainly very pleased to present this bill. It's an administration bill from the Department of Finance and Financial Institutions. The bill is known as the Money Transmission Modernization Act. It replaces the Tennessee Money Transmitter Act of 1994. It's a model act that we hope all states will adopt over the next several years. It will improve and provide uniformity of licensing and regulatory standards throughout the money transmission industry. It will certainly protect the citizens of Tennessee and their transmitting money, and it will certainly help all the vendors have a uniform standard of services and regulation. With that, I'll certainly be glad to ask any questions.
All right, thank you, Chairman Bricken. Any questions for Chairman Bricken? Any questions on the bill, on the committee? Representative Lynn?
I'll ask a question. It's a 93-page bill.
61-page bill.
Oh, 61-page bill. On page 37,
Okay.
there is a clause in there. Can you speak to that?
Okay. I feel like a freshman. Which clause are you referring to?
I'm just kidding.
Okay,
It's
thank
a very long bill. Very long bill. I'm sure it's a very good bill.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay. We tried anyway. Chairman Vaughn?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For those new members of our committee that you hadn't been on here before, we've dealt with money transmission. The amounts of transmissions throughout our state are staggering in number, frankly, how many electronic transmissions of remittance there are, and everything from cash advance to payment of credit cards. One thing that me being involved with the Commerce Committee that I have come to take a great deal of security in is the fact that our banking commissioner, his office has always been very diligent in answering my questions, also explaining things on a level to me to where I understand it. And this is something that we have probed around the edges of for years. And I'm glad to see us coming up with a new bill for it. And I know you are too, Vice Chairman Brickens, that if y'all haven't figured out yet, banking is one of Representative Brickens' passions. And this is an area that's kind of on the fringe of it. And for us to be presenting a new bill which encompasses the ever-changing face of electronic transmission of cash and payments is really exciting, as exciting as it can be. But I mean, I'm glad to see it here. Technology and things are changing all the time, and so for us to get out in front of it I appreciate, and I look forward to voting for this bill.
Thank you. Chairman Bricken?
Just in closing, and just for, I guess, our viewing audience, maybe on television, whatever, just a couple of facts. So there's 172 licensed money transmitters in Tennessee, 4 that are physically based in Tennessee. And these services, from PayPal to Western Union, MoneyGram, Wise Money, I mean, if you go to a website or Google money transmission, it will amaze you how many money transmitters there are out there. I would have never thought there were that many. And certainly the need for our regulators to be able to uniformly monitor and regulate this industry truly is critical. And the last thing we want is the federal government to jump in and provide standards when the state can do a much better job in doing that. So.
Thank you. I think we do a better job at everything than the federal government, but that's just my opinion. Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Bricken, do you see this as like a consumer protection type of piece of legislation?
Certainly, it encompasses that because requirement, a liquidity requirement to meet a standard for operation. So you certainly don't want to give someone your money and then find out that they don't have the funds to send it or they keep it. And so, yes, it's certainly as much a consumer protection as an industry standardization.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Representative Sparks.
Just real quick, I plan on voting for the bill, but I'd tried to send some money to Western Union to someone that does some work for me overseas, and they didn't allow me to do it. I had to go to another Western Union. I won't say which grocery store, but I just drove to Murfreesboro and sent the money. I guess they were very restrictive on trying to send money, overseas. And it really wasn't a significant amount of money, but anyways, just want to share that for the record. So this is a very pro-consumer piece of legislation. Is that right, Vice Chairman?
Absolutely.
Dr. Coon, yes.
Thank you, sir.
Chairman Bricken, okay. The doctor is in the building now. Any other questions for the Chairman Bricken? Okay, without objection, we're ready to vote on the bill. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, the same. The ayes have it. And you move on to full commerce. Thank you, Chairman Bricken.
Thank you.
The next bill, we had rolled you to the bottom, but we're going to move it up a little bit because we know you're on a tight schedule. So, Dr. Kumar, you are recognized on House Bill 1306. Second.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill has to do with the situation that we park a car and we want to pay for it and the Q code does not work. And no other alternative to payment is available. So this was the situation that I had to face recently. I tried my phone and I tried my wife's phone. We tried that again. And ultimately, we could not really leave that place because the attendant there would not accept cash. We probably not a check either because we didn't carry our checkbook with us. And he wanted me to put my credit card number in his cell phone, which I didn't think was a good idea. So there was no effective method of payment because of a technological failure. And in that situation, I tried to leave. They were a little difficult about it and tried to block me. But ultimately, they did let me leave, and I had left my card there. And of course, they billed me, and I did pay them back. I did offer cash, and they did not accept cash either. So this bill basically says that when a vendor of services provides only one method of payment, whether it be Q code or a credit card, and that method fails to function, the vendor will accept either cash or check if available, or agree to invoice or bill the customer, but will not keep the customer, obstruct the customer from leaving. And that's all it is. It's solving a problem that all of us run into at times. Also, the vendor will display the alternative that is available. That is basically, they would have an 800 number that you could call and give your credit card number over the phone. But if they do not do that, and then regardless of it, a person would be able to leave because the problem is the system failing to function, and there only one option was available. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Kumar. And Chairman Faison, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In committee, I wanted you to know this. I actually signed on to the bill. Last year, we had a get-together over at the Yeehaw Brewery, across the street from the Yeehaw. I tried to park. It wouldn't do anything with my cell phone. There was an attendant there, and I went over to him. I said, listen, you see, and I showed him I was trying. And he's like, well, you have to pay. I'm like, oh, okay. But, I'm literally showing him. It refused to take it. I said, I'm going to just give you cash. He's like, no, you can't give me anything. I was like, well, don't boot my car. He's like, I'm just going to give you a ticket when you walk off. And I'm like, look, that thing has already started, and I'm running this thing. I've got to get over there. And you've watched me. You physically watched me try to pay, and it won't take it. And he said, I don't know what to tell you. So obviously when I got back, there was a ticket on my car. I refused to pay the ticket, by the way, and I'm sure if they're watching right now, they're like, we've billed Mr. Faison several times. But I've reached out to him to remind him that that dude was there who refused to take my cash. I tried multiple times on my phone. So it would seem to me that there's got to be something better than just booting you or giving you a ticket, especially when there's an attendant and you showed them that you're trying to do this and attempting to be right about it, and they refuse to work with you. So I support your bill 100%.
Thank you.
Dr. Kumar, did you want to respond to that?
No, I'm grateful. I think it corroborates the story.
Okay.
And I'm sure there are people and members who have come across this problem. And we are trying to help the merchants serve their customers better by providing an alternative method.
Okay, thank you. Chairman Bond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, too, had my horror stories. I know that everybody, if you spend much time in downtown Nashville, you've eventually had a negative experience with a parking vendor, and then you get the intimidating letters and so on following. So I support his bill. But mostly, I just wanted to compliment the bill sponsor on his choice of tie today. That neckwear is spectacular. Very timely, not really subtle, but just right on point. So Representative Chairman Kumar, well done. Job well done.
Chairman Kumar.
This is to remind fellow members, today this is the day, and please don't forget what your duties are at home.
Thank you for the reminder. Representative Lynn.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I really think that you've illustrated a problem that so many people have been through. But I want to ask you, I apologize, I haven't had a chance to look up the code sections. Could this be interpreted, though, to apply to, say, retail sales, or I know that I was at a it was a weird thing, a student, it was a student display where they were selling their goods, and, you know, they only took, you know, Venmo or something like that. Could it be, I'm not familiar with the code section, so I apologize. Is the code section restricted to this sort of thing where it's a parking lot and all of that, or could it be interpreted to apply to retail sales? Because you'd sure hate to see, or even restaurants, maybe someone's already eaten their meal and, you know, they only take credit cards, because we know fewer people are taking cash. We even had a bill about that last year, and the person cannot pay. They cannot pay. So how does that work?
Chairman Kumar.
Thank you. This applies only to services, because you cannot return that service. You have to pay for it. It applies only to service, not for goods sold.
Representative Lynn, did you want to get a follow-up?
I don't have a follow-up. I probably really need to look at the code section, but yeah, it's interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think one question that came up, and I know one concern was that would it apply to anything, you know, any other industry across the state, you know, would it not any other service industry, or just to parking lots only? So I think that was one concern that we had heard before too. So at this time, Chairman Bricken.
What I thought about after your presentation was, why doesn't it just also allow for the service to be provided free? So those attendants would know that if there's a technical issue, they can just let you park and leave, rather than having to come up with cash or anything else. They have felt on their level that certain cost you. So I think a free provision should also be added to this bill.
Chairman Kumar.
I would like that, but I did not want to come across as trying to take advantage of the situation. So what this bill says is that if the only method of payment available does not work, there should be an alternative. If there is no attendant at the place and there is no alternative, then I'm sorry, if the attendant can give me the address or phone number to call where I can call and make payment on the phone by giving a credit card number or mail a check to. If the attendant does not do so, they do not provide me any information, or there is no attendant to provide me information, in that case, I do not owe them anything. That is how this is structured.
All right. Thank you. Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Look like you also have to provide notice of alternative payment method. So in the situation that the chairman just described, something would have to be posted somewhere in the parking lot prominently, so that when he went to talk to the attendant could point to the sign and say, you have this method. Is that what you're trying to do?
Chairman Kumar.
Yes, exactly. What we are saying is that have an alternative available, which would be, again, an 800 number to call. One can pay by credit card over the phone. If that is not done, no information is given to the customer to be able to mail payment, then the customer doesn't owe anything.
Leader Camper.
So in an unattended parking lot, they would have to have a sign posted somewhere, is what you're saying. And even in that restaurant, was it a restaurant you went to? Oh, you were somewhere. And there was no human being for you to ask this question. They would need to have this posted somewhere, otherwise you will not have to pay, or we would not have to pay.
Chairman Kumar.
That is true.
All right.
Any other questions? The one I had, I think, is the one I mentioned a while ago, too, and maybe we can just work with you just to make sure anything we do, as you know, a lot of times will have ramifications throughout the industry. We want to make sure that we're not affecting anyone that we don't want to, and that, I like your bill, and I think that, when we're just looking at the parking problem that we're having, I think this is a great bill for that. We just don't want to inadvertently affect some other industries. So that was the only concern that I had. And without any other, we got one more question. Representative Lynn.
So I just wanted to try to understand this better. Are we saying that as lawmakers, we are getting ready to create a law that says to the service industry, you've just provided a service, but we're passing a law that will set up something where rightfully you cannot get paid? You cannot get paid. Is that what we're doing? We're saying to the service industry, we're making a law where you've provided a service, but we're saying as lawmakers that you can't get paid if for want of this.
Chairman Kumar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What we are saying to the service industry is that make it easy for your customers, serve them better by making more than one method of payment available. If one does not work, there is an alternative available. And so the customer has an alternative. Either they can use the telephone posted there to call and make the payment, or they can mail the payment in. If the vendor provides only one method, that doesn't work, provides no alternative method, provides no alternative information where the customer can mail a payment, then the customer does not have to. But we are making it possible for the vendor to provide better service.
Representative Lynn.
Thank you. So what if it is the customer who has a credit card that does not work? It will not work. He cannot get out of the parking lot or wherever service he's in. He gets the service for free?
Chairman Kumar.
No, then that person is stealing the service. And it will be the same thing as today. The QR code is working fine, but the customer refuses to pay. They would be handled in the way that they should be.
Okay, that just brought up another question for me. I just happened to think of one. If someone gives you an alternative method, they give you an envelope and said, okay, we can't get a payment today. Here, just mail in a payment. Here's a pre-addressed envelope for you to mail it in, but you never mail it in. If the customer never mails it in, then what happens at that point if the customer does not pay at that point?
The customer is responsible, and the vendor to whom the money is owed takes whatever legal or other means they have to enforce that. It would be, I don't know if it comes under shoplifting or what.
I guess it'd be turned over to collections probably, wouldn't it, if they were unable to collect it? Okay. Any other questions for the sponsor? If not, without objection, we're ready to vote. So all in favor of House Bill 1306, say aye. Aye. All opposed? No. The ayes have it. And you go on to Commerce. And thank you, Dr. Kumar. Thank you, Chairman Kumar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee.
Okay, and at this time, we're going to go to item number 5, House Bill 54, and I'll be running that, and I'm turning over the gavel to Chairman Vaughn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think I could be referred to as the hardest working chairman in the building today. This is my third committee. We are going to take up House Bill, where are you? Didn't say I'm not doing it without great effort here. House Bill 54 by Chairman Powers. We've got a motion, we've got a second. Your bill is in proper posture. Chairman, why don't you share a little bit about the bill?
Thank you, Chairman. House Bill 54 is an administration bill that improves opportunities and efficiencies for capital formation and increases investor protection. It also makes examination records confidential, requires fingerprint and criminal history checks, authorizes the commissioner to order restitution, allows broker-dealers or agents to seek expungement with a written notice to the department, deletes the filing and fee requirements for employee stock option offerings that meet the requirements of Rule 701, and also increases the capital that can be raised under the Investment Tennessee exemption from $1 million to $5 million. And with that, I'll be glad to take any questions.
Excuse me, let's get in proper position here. That was information contained in Amendment 1, was it not? That makes the bill? All
sorry,
right.
I'm sorry, yes,
No,
that was
that's
Amendment
okay.
1. Yeah,
Drafting Code 3922 is appropriate? Motion. We got a motion. We have a second on the amendment? Second? All right, let's get this thing taken care of. Amendment number 1, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Amendment 1 is on there. Now we're discussing the full bill as amended. Do we have any questions for Chairman Powers? Going once, going twice, seeing none. We're going to be voting on House Bill 54. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. You're off full commerce, Mr. Chairman, and I pass you back the gavel to your capable hands.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay. Okay, I did have one announcement to make before we take off. Just for this witness protection program, the House Clerk's Office has informed us that people who signed up for testimony or questions will need to fill out a House witness card 24 hours before testifying. Those will be located in the committee rooms and will be turned in either by email or in person to our office. So they have to fill out a card at least 24 hours to be a witness here on our committee. And that's part of the House Clerk's Office. And with that, do we have any other comments? That is new, yes. Just started, yeah. So as for our next committee, forward. All right. Without objection, then, we're going to be adjourned. Thank you all for coming out.